Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to the December Board of Commissioners meeting of the Houston Housing Authority. With that, Anna, I'd like to call this meeting to order, and would you please call roll?
President and Chairman Toller.
Here.
Vice President Commissioner Smith.
He is here.
Commissioner Ossevi Lewis.
President.
Commissioner Ballard.
Here.
Commissioner Carter.
Here.
Commissioner Kirkendall. Commissioner Lee.
Here.
Secretary Bryan.
Here. Thank you all. Next, I would like to introduce the interpreters. Thank you again each month for all you do.
Next board leave with Mr. Trevor. Lấy ngọc lợi không dư với tiếng Việt Nam.
You have a time interpreter.
Thank you. Donna, public comments?
Yes, we have 2 today, and I want to remind speakers will be allowed to speak 3 minutes for public comments. Speakers will only be allowed to speak once. I will inform you when you have 1 minute, and again, when your 3 minutes have expired. The board will generally not respond to the comments or answer any questions. HHA residents making comments are encouraged to state their name and the property where they reside clearly, and someone from the property management company will contact you directly. And the first person we have is Jeremy Bartholomew.
Jeremy, hold on, come on up. How many visitors do we have on television, please? Six. Thank you very much. Jeremy, floor is yours.
Good afternoon, Jeremy Bartholomew, Resolution Companies, here on behalf of the Lafayette and Idlewild transactions. These are the acquisition, rehab, preservation, tax credit transactions that we're working on today. Just here to say thank you, grateful for the opportunity, really look forward to working with you all again, and many thanks.
Thank you. And Mr. Paul Fuente, Tito's brother.
All right, so good afternoon. My name is Paul Fuente. Thank you for allowing me to speak. I represent the Houston Gulf Coast Building and Construction Trades Council. I serve on several boards and commissions throughout the city and the state. I represent 23 different construction unions in the Houston Gulf Coast region. We have 13 registered apprenticeship programs that educate, train, and employ young men and women in the industry and construction. These individuals, when they go to work, they get health care additional to their wages. They get incremental wages as they pass their classes. They get pensions to retire on, all additional to their wages, and they're always employed, and obviously in a career path. These individuals get also the education and training with zero debt, so there's no charge to the education that they're receiving. These programs have been around since the mid-40s, so they've been vetted, and they're all registered with the Department of Labor through the Bureau of Apprenticeship Training or the Office of Apprenticeship. And we work mainly in a lot of industrial facilities, a lot of commercial facilities, so these individuals are getting a lot of hands-on and classroom training from professionals that have gone through this type of training before. I wanted to come and inform you all, because I hear we're the best kept secret around, so I wanted to make sure that it doesn't become a secret, that you all are informed about what opportunities our community has for a career within the construction industry at no cost to them. Now there is a cost when it comes to it, but those employers add it to their bid, and that's kind of how the education is being paid for, because it's an investment from the employers that we have a collective bargaining agreement. We work at places like NASA, at the nuclear power plant. We work in all facets throughout the state, but here locally, I'm in charge of 20 counties surrounding Harris County. So I just wanted to kind of bring this to everyone's attention, and that's about it.
We thank you so much. I'm so happy you're here. And if you'll look over your left shoulder in the back, there's a gentleman there in a corduroy jacket, Nehemiah.
Yep.
I want you guys to connect. I've told Nehemiah about you. And,
Great.
Nehemiah leads up a lot of our job training programs, and he's the best person to connect with in the agency.
And just
excited for you to be here
Yeah,
to talk
thank
to us
you.
about these programs.
Thank you, thank you.
From where do you normally recruit your members?
So a lot of these individuals,
It's not appropriate.
Oh.
Question.
Well, how do you do this thing?
You're gonna need to ask your president and CEO to obtain the information separately,
Ah.
but for a board member to communicate with a member of the public under public comment is not permitted under the Open Meetings Act unless it's a recitation of policy or request to place the item on a future agenda.
You're the smartest guy I know.
Well, and thank you, and for the record, you were the one who presented the board to hire this gentleman.
so let me just
We will
say.
get you, Nan.
Yeah, thank you, thank you. No, I just wanted to just comment on a couple of things, just if y'all didn't know, there's a ton of work that's coming to Houston. We're gonna need a lot of folks to get into these trades. I don't know, the path for a lot of folks has always been to college. Nothing against college, but not everyone can afford to go to college. This is a great way to start a career that really pays your benefits and retirement. A lot of folks don't get a pension. These are real pensions.
I
These
think
aren't.
you'll be very impressed with the gentleman you're
Wonderful.
All
gonna
right.
meet.
No, thank you so much,
Thank you.
and I look forward to hearing about your
Appreciate it.
conversations.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate you.
Thank you.
So how would we have a guest or someone come?
Can we just wait, hold that question for a few minutes? We'll come back to it.
We're doing a session.
Yeah. Okay, next is, a recommendation or motion to approve the minutes of the November 18th, 2025 Housing Authority meeting. And I'll entertain a motion for approval of those minutes.
Chairman,
Thank you. Do I have a second?
I second.
Thank you. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you. Before I turn it over to Jamie for his comments I just want to make one brief comment, and that is on behalf of the entire board, and I think the board joins me. I want to wish each and every one of you the healthiest and happiest of holidays. It has been a very, very progressive year in this agency, and each of you all are owed a tremendous amount of thanks. And on behalf of the board, thank you. Thank each of you for what you've done, for the new folks that have joined us, for the older folks that are still here with us, and we still have a long way to go, but I just, on behalf of the board, I wanted to say thank you and happy and safe holiday. Jamie?
Thank you, sir, and I echo those remarks, whether you celebrate Christmas or Hanukkah or Kwanzaa, or you're just looking forward to some off time with your family and friends. We hope everybody here and everybody watching online has a wonderful holiday and safe holiday season with loved ones. And as our chairman talked about, it has been a progressive year. Hold on, we got somebody knocking on the door. Hopefully it's Christine. While I have not been here for 12 months as the president and CEO, I actually have been here for 12 months. Actually, when I threw my hat in the ring and knew his position was coming up, I actually attended the December board meeting last year on December 17th. And it was my first exposure to this board, this meeting, this process. I remember sitting in the audience listening to everything that was going on and praying about whether or not this was the place that I was supposed to be. And I can tell you with certainty 12 months later, I feel certain now that this is absolutely where I'm supposed to be, and I'm just blessed work with this board, have their support, and work with this team and staff. As the chairman said, it's been a progressive year. The analogy I give as a real estate developer is folks would always come to me and say, wow, that building went up quickly. And I said, well, you didn't see the 4 years of work that went into it beforehand, right? You saw the walls go up and the roof go on and all the pretty stuff, but you didn't see the 2 or 3 years of planning and struggling and working on the financing. You didn't see the year before of slopping around in the mud and putting the infrastructure in and the foundation so we could actually start the building. And so for those of you in the public who may not know everything that's going on behind the scenes here and can't always visually see the progress, I promise you it's been going on. This team has been working diligently in the mud, slopping around, digging holes, putting in the infrastructure, building the foundation, and 2026 is going to be a new year as you start to see the walls go up, the roof go on, and all the efforts that this team's put in. So excited for that to come. With that, I wanted to take this opportunity today to announce some exciting organizational news. As of a couple of weeks ago, we have created a new group here in the Housing Authority called Client and Resident Services. And while Client and Resident Services is not something new, it is something we are looking at growing and expanding, as our guest talked about, with job training, whether it's home ownership counseling, any other self-sufficiency things. We have had programs in this agency for years that have addressed very bespoke things, and sometimes it's only related to a voucher holder, a resident of public housing. We're pulling all of those groups under one umbrella now for two reasons. First, to find efficiencies and make sure we're serving our clients and residents in similar fashion, but also now so we can grow it. Right, we can grow with folks like the Building and Trade Association and help our residents and clients find better jobs, help them with counseling, whether it's financial counseling or other, help them get to home ownership. You're going to hear some great stories here in a little bit when the Jobs Plus resolution comes to it. And so I'm super excited about this work that's going to be coming. I want to recognize, is Joanne Gladney? I can't see you. Are you back there? Will you stand up for me? All right. To my board, you may have met Joanne before. Yes. Joanne has been at the Housing Authority for many, many years and has been working her way up through the ranks and is just continued to grow and grow in her role and her leadership and her passion. And a couple of weeks ago, we have elevated her into a senior leadership position as director of this new group. And we're just so excited, Joanne, about what you're going to do and how your team's going to lead this into the future. So thank you for saying yes.
Thank you.
And I won't say too much because you'll see him here in a minute. You'll also hear from Nehemiah Francis, who was our manager at Jobs Plus, who has been promoted to assistant director under Joanne. Yeah. And Nehemiah will be presenting here in a little bit about some of the go-forward work on Jobs Plus. And so thank you for the work ahead. These services and counseling is what this agency is all about, and look forward to what's going to happen in 2026. So, Chairman, with that, I will turn it back to you.
Thank you. Next on the agenda is the auditor's report. Hello.
They were here this time last year too.
Yes. That was after a Florida hurricane. Their previous.
Yeah, we actually, knock on wood, we lucked out. We had no direct hits this
Good.
year in Florida, so.
Nor us here in Texas.
Yes, exactly. So I'm once again happy to be here to present the audit. I do have a PowerPoint. I think it looks like it's just behind you guys. Let's see if my clicker is working. Okay, perfect. I also know that you have, perfect, thank you. I know you guys have a lot to go over today, so I will try to be as brief yet informative as possible. My name's Laura Ann Prey. I'm a partner at Berman Hopkins, and I did have the chance to meet with the finance committee and the executive team, in advance of this meeting about a month ago. So, we dug in really deep then, but I'm happy to answer any questions that anyone might have. Couple of reminders, the audit that I'm going over is for your 12 months ended December 31st, 2024. Our audit covers controls, compliance, the numbers themselves. And even though you have a lot of programs, we're actually, majority of the housing authority is under one umbrella opinion unit, and then your discrete component units are presented separately. This is just a guide of the various regulations and reporting that your team or us as your auditors have to be in compliance with. The key thing to note here is that because you're a government agency, because you receive federal funding, and because that funding comes from the Department of Housing, all of those layers have their own additional reporting requirements, testing requirements that you have to be in compliance with. And I have on the next few slides is some snippets of the opinions that we actually issue. So we issue 3 reports as a part of our audit. Standard auditor report that any for-profit, not-for-profit governmental construction company would get. Because you're a government agency, there's a government auditing report. We're talking there to reasonable and necessary, waste and abuse, those types of items. And then there's a uniform guidance report. That's your compliance with your major federal programs. Each of those reports is about 3 to 4 pages long, so I've just included the most important parts of those reports here. I did want to note that we did file on time with the Real Estate Assessment Center, so 9/30/2024, your audit was due. However, at that time, we didn't have all of the supporting information that we needed. So the report that we filed at that time was a disclaimer of an opinion, and that my team and the HHA team have been working to complete the audit and be able to, in the future, issue an updated report, hopefully with an unmodified opinion. And the big items that led to that disclaimer of opinion is that at the time that report was due, you had a handful of your blended and discrete component unit property audits that were still outstanding. So we received those audits from other auditors, and we use those and rely on that work. So we were waiting on those. All of those have been received, so that item has been checked off, and we're moving forward on that. Did you have a question, sir?
When do you expect the audit, the final audit to be filed?
The team's still working on reconciling some pretty big pieces. So I'm optimistic that it'll be done within the next month, but we're currently still working through the audit process. And then the other item, as I mentioned, was that there was some pretty significant balances that the team was still working on reconciling and getting updated and providing that support to us. That part of the process is still ongoing. The other audit report that we issue is your government auditing report, and we do have a internal control item that we are noting on this report. And this is related to the financial reporting, the timeliness of the reporting, the availability of the supporting documentation. And as you may remember, and this is just what that finding looks like, this is a repeated finding from the prior year. So the team's still working on getting everything up to date, software conversion, some staffing changes, all sort of presented some challenges during the year for the team. And then that third report is our uniform guidance report, and this is where we issue our opinion on your major programs. We did issue a qualified opinion this year on your major programs, and those major programs were your Moving to Work demonstration program, your separate housing voucher cluster, and as well as your Section 8 project-based cluster. And you all may remember from last year when I did this presentation that it just takes some time to work yourself out of the challenges that the agency was facing. So, I think we were all anticipating these findings to, be repeated because the team is still getting processes in place and updating that. So all of these findings are really repeated findings from what was experienced in the prior year, with some improvements, but we're still working on getting them up to date. So that's a little small, I apologize, but essentially the qualification for those programs is related to your eligibility determinations. So the methods that the team is going through to obtain income support, valid inspections and signed forms and documentation, there's just still, a significant numbers of errors that we're seeing in that. So that eligibility finding is applicable to your Moving to Work program. And that is your Moving to Work program, is just as a reminder, houses your legacy housing voucher cluster Section 8 program, as well as your public housing program. So we noted those issues on both of those. We also noted the eligibility issues on the housing voucher cluster, which is going to be your emergency housing vouchers, your mainstream, all of those other items, as well as the Section 8 project-based cluster. A variety of different items that we noted, but again, just the team's working to make those improvements. And I do have one piece that I want to point out. There is one cleared finding from last year. So last year, in addition to the eligibility issues that we noted, we also had an issue with your waiting list of an applicant reaching the top of the waiting list and support wasn't able to be provided for their movement on the waiting list. We didn't have any of those issues this year in our waiting list testing. Reminder, we do a variety of testing. Eligibility is obviously a very significant portion of it. We do waiting list testing, we test your CMAQ reporting, we test procurement, we test payroll, we test disbursements. We did not have any other reported items, internal control issues that we noted with any of those other aspects of reporting. Okay, so moving on to the financial highlights. Excuse me, this is your schedule of expenditures of federal awards, and I think the key thing to point out here is, again, that Moving to Work umbrella. That's a newer reporting mechanism for the agencies. That's housing the Section 8 program, the public housing program, and the capital fund program. You all do have quite a bit of other funding still in those mainstream vouchers, EHV vouchers, your project-based cluster, as well as some, coronavirus and some Jobs Plus and some other items there. But that Moving to Work program will just always be the program that's tested every year. The other larger programs will sort of cycle in and out. And a big item financially for the agency this year, as is most years because of all the development activity that you all have, is just some of the movement and the ownership. So during 2024, the Oxford Community Apartments Partnership and the Lincoln Park Apartment Partnerships, those entities, those other partners redeemed their interest, and now all of those are falling under that APV Partners Corporation umbrella. So all of those moved from being discretely presented component units to now being blended component units underneath the umbrella of HHA. So as we look at the financial information, the comparative information, that's really the reason for all of these changes. So, you see current assets going up, you see capital assets going up, you see liabilities going up. All of that is because you've now brought two whole new programs or properties that weren't under the HHA umbrella into the HHA world. And then what we have here is your changes in net position. Again, it's a similar story. You're bringing in a lot of new activity that wasn't there in the past. We also did have a significant increase in your HUD revenue. That's directly related to the increase in the housing assistant payment expenses that were experienced during the year. So those went up about 50 million or so from the prior year. Some of that's payment standard increases, some of that's decreases in tenant payments that they're making on their own, but you are receiving the funding to support that as well. And then this is just the current status of the 2024 audit. We do also issue a separate audit for the APV Redevelopment Corporation. We really work on those hand in hand, that and the Housing Authority. We've received all of those standalone audits that we were waiting for, as I mentioned. And, the team is still, providing, we're still working together. We meet bi-weekly, 2 times a week with the team to work on getting the rest of the information and support that we need to be able to wrap up those audits. And your REACT submission that we did to meet that 9/30/2025 deadline is still sitting in review. Obviously, when the government was shut down, they weren't making any progress, and now I can only imagine the backlog that they have. So hopefully the plan is if that comes back and they reject that submission, then we will then be able to provide the updated report, the updated audit information at that time when we do that resubmission.
you seen any movement with any of your other clients either? Is HUD still just working through the backlog?
We have started to see some. Maybe the second week back, there was like a rash of approvals, but it was very small agencies that, frankly, probably just take 30 minutes, an hour to review. An agency your size takes quite a bit of time. So our larger agencies that were in a similar backlog as you all are still sitting in the backlog and haven't been approved yet. Just a couple of other items to note, because we do your audit, but ultimately as auditors we report to the board. So a couple things that we're required to make sure we're communicating to the board as a result of our audit process. There were some new accounting policies over the past few years. You guys may remember there's a new lease standard that required some adjustments. There's a new subscription-based software standard that required some adjustments. And then this year, there was compensated absences. That, while we did, implement that, it didn't have a significant impact on the agency. How you all were already reporting your compensated absences was in compliance with that change already. We didn't have any disagreements with management as a result of our audit. We did have experienced some of the difficulties, obtaining the external audits as well as the support, but we're working through that together. And there are a variety of estimates that are built into your financial statements. And the thing to note here is that as part of our audit procedures, we evaluate those estimates in arrears. So we look at how did we evaluate them last year, how did that prove itself out this year, and is there any change that needs to be made to that estimate process? And thus far, we haven't found any, management bias or anything that's leading to a change needing to be implemented in those estimates. All right, that was everything I had. Luke told me I had 15 minutes. I think I made it in under that time.
You did great.
I would like to.
Okay, next question.
Yeah, for the board though, if I wanted to make one clarification or add one piece of context to her presentation. You heard early on the comment about the rolled-up agency audit being behind because of some property audits that were happening separately. First and foremost, they do not handle those property audits; they're being handled by another auditor. That auditor was new to the agency this year, and with that, so that ramp up of them getting up to speed on the properties, reading the documents and everything else took a little longer than was anticipated. Also, apparently some of the property management companies had changed last year, and so going back to property management companies looking for documents and files when they no longer work for us, we did not get the best response out of those folks as well, which led to some slowdowns. But my question to the team was, how do we feel that's going to look when we're doing the 2025 audit? And everybody concurred. They thought it would be much faster next year because we were over that hump. You would agree with that?
I would agree completely. Luke and I were actually talking about what does the ideal timeline look like for next year. The plan would be for all of those partnership audits to be in by May timeframe, and then that means we're able to get that information, start on our financial piece of our audit June, July. We're wrapping it up and we're doing this presentation at the October meeting. We can get started on our compliance before, compliance and financial are a little separate, and so we're able to start on compliance, which we did this year. We started this compliance testing earlier. I know it's something we talked about last year. We'll continue with that same process, this year to, sort of have compliance be done, and then when we get the financial information, that's what we'll be focused in on.
And my goal for the agency, this was the 2024 audit. We have a lot of new team members and staff, and can't unring the bell of what happened 24 months ago. My goal for the agency is that when we're sitting here in October, not December next year, that the presentation is not going to be perfect. There will still be findings, but you will see material increases, less findings, better processes, better reports, and that then when we get to the 26 audit, the findings will be minimal, if anything, and we will be rocking and rolling at that time.
Yep, I think that's a very reasonable expectation of the agency and what it takes.
Question I had.
I was just going to say that you answered my question. Go ahead.
Yes, you pretty much answered mine too, but my first career was in oil and chemicals for 30 years, and we always compared ourselves to the Exxons, Texacos, et cetera, and how we are performing.
Mm-hmm.
If I ask you, to compare our performance to the other housing authorities that look just like us, where would you put us? What would you say?
Well, so we actually do some of those comparisons.
We teed that one up big time.
We do some of those comparisons as a part of our audit. So we do a lot of analytics, and so one of the things that we do is we accumulate your expenses and your expense classification categories, and we compare you sort of across the board, but then also we fine tune it to agencies that are similar size as you. You know, these days, agencies are very different in the way that their operations are structured, and you guys obviously very heavily, you know, on the development side of things. So we do some of those comparisons as part of our audit, and we inquire, you know, if administrative expenses are very high or very low, we're going to like dig in and make sure we understand, and then present to the team any recommendations that we might have as a result of those. I think from an operational standpoint, you know, you guys are definitely an agency that's at the forefront of development. I mean, there's a lot of agencies that are doing development, but some agencies, and some very large agencies, in fact, are just at the start of that. And you guys obviously have been doing it for a very long time, and I think are, you know, continuing to do that. I think for an agency, that's great for the diversification and all of the uncertainties, you know, in this industry. The other thing I'll say from an operational standpoint, when we think about the findings, it's very common for agencies to have compliance-related findings, because there's just so much work that has to go into that. There's so much, you know, that's based on external factors that an agency maybe doesn't have direct control over, the timeliness of the information, the accuracy of the information. So, you know, I think most of our agencies that are of a similar size and similar operations to you all do have some sort of compliance finding. You know, right now you guys, you know, have the same finding over a few programs. And as Jamie mentioned, you know, it takes time to work yourself out of that. So I think just the gradual improvement in those findings, dropping them down from right now being classified as a material weakness to hopefully next year maybe being a significant deficiency, and then maybe the next year being just an other matter. I think that's, you know, I don't think from an agency you're that far off in those types of things. You just have a lot of programs.
I'll answer it another way. If you look briefly at the numbers, our asset base rose $31 million in 2024. So that's meaningful.
Yeah.
And I'm real pleased with that.
You mentioned that you're going to do the same thing you did this year, try to come in and do the compliance audit earlier. Is that like the March timeframe?
Yeah, I think we ended up starting on the compliance testing probably in like April is when we actually ended up starting this year. But you know, we talked about it last year. There's, you know, limited reason why we really can't start that, you know, as soon as the new year starts, because compliance is what it is. It's done, you know, once the year's over, except for some reporting that's not required for a couple months.
So you're thinking that you can complete that by May, in a month? Is that typically all
I
it
think
takes?
what we would like to do, because we do have to test all of these programs again when we have a finding, so it is a lot of testing that has to happen. I think what would be ideal is we get started in March and we plan to be wrapped up in June. That should give us enough time for us to do testing, send questions to your team members have some time to maybe find stuff or answer things, just have a little bit of that back and forth.
I'm wondering how we could maybe get some the HHA can get some feedback, because then we have half of the year still, where if we're still seeing that there are material weaknesses or deficiencies, then the team can go ahead and make that adjustment, and we still have 6 months.
Yeah, and basically our process is we have, you know, very large spreadsheets that are testing 25 different attributes per tenant file. And we provide that to the team and we say, we didn't see this 9886, so they're getting it. And then they're answering, yes, we agree this is missing, or, you know, so they know about those errors before we kind of finalize everything and present it into the financial statements.
Okay, so then Jamie, that would be something great
Thank
for
you
the
very
team
much.
to be
Appreciate
aware of. One more question, related to you're still reconciling balances. Are those balance sheet and income statement balances, or are you finding
It's a little bit of both.
So
I would say most of what we're still working, the team's still working on this point is on the balance sheet side. We've got most of the income statement side. We've received that support from them. They've given us journal entries and we're going through our testing now on that side.
Okay, great.
A very difficult task to reconcile a balance sheet. I've done it many times. Thank you for your
Thank you,
time.
guys.
Thank you for making the trip.
Yes, of course.
Okay, next we will now move into new business, and we have resolution number 3929 and 3933, which will be presented and who is presenting that today? Okay. Yeah. Mike, good afternoon.
Good afternoon. Resolution 3929 is the 2026 operating budget for the Housing Authority. We have amended the format that we're using this year. There was a lot of discussion, during the audit presentation, everything about the MTW nature of the Housing Authority. So we've modified our budget at the request of Jamie to do a better job of reflecting the agency's position now as an MTW agency. As before we were MTW, everything was kind of like its own little business deal. So we would have budgets for the COCC, budgets for the voucher department, budgets for the properties. Now we're blending them all together into one budget because that is more representative of how this housing authority is now operating. So there are a few changes, nothing really overly dramatic between the prior budget and the current budget. Like I said, we've expanded the MTW presentation to include things that were not part of the prior budget, such as grants and everything along those lines. So some of the numbers, you'll see that the budget for 2026 is actually higher than what it was for 2025, and most of that can be attributed to those two items that we're adding things to the budget that were not in the budget in the prior year. Revenue-wise, we're looking at about $333 million worth of revenue. The single biggest contributor to that is the housing assistance payment portion of it, the HAP numbers that come in. On top of that, there will be the operating subsidy, the rental income collected from the various properties, the grant revenue that comes in, the capital fund revenue that comes in, and then the administrative fees that are earned by the housing authority from HUD for processing all of these transactions. The big point of that would be like on the voucher side. There's an admin fee and a bookkeeping fee that is earned per voucher per month that all add up. So they're not really big individually, but when you do 20,000 of them a month, at the end of the year, it's a pretty substantial number that is generated. Expense-wise, we're also around $330 million, with the single biggest expense line item being, again, the housing assistance payments. That program is essentially dollars in, dollars out type thing. The next biggest line item would be the salaries and benefits. And then if you look at it from a percentage standpoint, we have three categories that make up roughly 91, almost 92% of our total annual expenditures, those being the HAP expenses, salaries and benefits, and then the maintenance costs that incur out on the various real estate properties that we have. This budget is assembled every year kind of in a building block method. For the property side of it, we meet with the management companies. Our housing operations team works with the management companies to scrub those numbers and everything like that. We roll that up and incorporate it in this. We work with the voucher team to look at the HAP dollars coming in, the HAP dollars going out. And since we process payroll, we kind of know what the payroll is for the agency. So we work with the HR department and others assessing that. Everything else individually, line item by line item, is kind of insignificant to the overall HHA budget. I think most of them fall under 1% of the overall HHA budget, which gives me some level of comfort, because when you have expense categories that fall at 1%, you can be off by a pretty good amount on your estimate, and it's not gonna have a material impact on the overall agency.
And that begs my only question on this, and that is, insurance expense, for the P&C portion of the fleet shows to be I'm rounding, $2.4 million. And somewhere in this book, on Saturday morning around 3 a.m., I thought I read where our insurance costs were going to be budgeted up 30%. Is that?
Yes, but that's on a subset of here, and not all of the properties, because as was mentioned when they were doing the audit, it's like we have a number of properties that are independent partnerships.
Right.
So we actually have a significant amount of insurance costs that's incurred inside those partnerships, but they kind of operate independently of the housing authority. So they're not wrapped up in the housing authority specific budget.
Okay, thanks.
And one of the reasons for that would be like those standalone partnerships generate their own revenue, pay their own expenses.
Right.
And other than having an ownership interest, we really don't have a direct link into those partnerships from an operational or expense standpoint.
Got it.
I would, to add some clarity for both the board and the public, we are subject to appropriations from the United States Congress. The large majority of our revenues are appropriated to us through Congress, administered through HUD. As you may or may not be aware, we had a 45-day shutdown. The Congress has not passed a spending and appropriations bill. We are operating on a continuing resolution. Continuing resolutions just kick the can down the road and continue to fund us at par. Myself and Neil and some others have been spending time in DC, talking to our folks on the Hill, and to try and get some insights into what those appropriations are going to look like, because there's been wild differences in what has been talked about versus what's actually getting drafted in bills. But we still don't know that. This continuing resolution takes us through the end of January, in which Congress will be faced again with, do they pass another continuing resolution? Do they pass an appropriations bill? And so with that, we are doing a best estimate and holding things at par for now. And what I've told our team and told our finance committee and a policy going forward is we will come back to this board with an amendment to this budget when we have more clarity out of DC on our appropriations and make adjustments, whether that's up or down, whatever the case may be, and re-ratify the budget at that point. But just so everybody understands, last year it was end of April that we got that clarity out of DC, and so it may take a few more months before we actually know, but we're watching, we're planning, and we're keeping our eye out on it, and we will bring the budget back to the board to do an amendment if need be.
Okay. We move on to resolution number 3933.
Well, we need to
I'm
vote
sorry.
on it.
Okay, may I have a motion to approve resolution number 3929 as submitted? Thank you. And a second? Thank you. Any discussion? All in favor say aye. Any opposed? Thank you. Now to 3933.
Okay. Resolution 3933 is one of these insurance resolutions that we're talking, that we bring. As you may or may not remember, we essentially bring two significant resolutions to the board throughout the year. One would be at this time of the year when the renewal occurs for our public housing portfolio, along with liability, fleet, workers' compensation coverages. The one that we do in the middle of the year is on some of the tax credit properties that we have. This year, unexpected to us, we received notification from our historical insurance provider, which is Texas Municipal League Intergovernmental Risk Pool, that they were going to not renew any of our coverages that they have been doing. They didn't just single out the Houston Housing Authority. They're basically not doing any housing authorities insurance going forward as far as we can tell based on what they've provided to us. And we've talked, as we've gone out into the market looking for replacement, we have verified that some of the people that we're talking to have been working with other housing authorities to replace their TML coverage at the same time that we're doing it. So that being said, we went to, our primary choice was to go to the Housing Authority Insurance Group. One of the reasons that we went to Housing Authority Insurance Group is that they have been a partner of ours from an insurance standpoint for a number of years going back on these properties, so we had a familiarity with them. They also have the added bonus of having a HUD bid waiver, which means that HUD's already pre-approved them. We can go directly to them. We don't have to go through any drawn out or lengthy procurement process. And we, quite frankly, didn't have the time with the notice that we had to actually do that. So it was kind of good fortune that we had the relationship with them. We've been working with them for a couple of months now, trying to get all of this stuff done, because the deadline that we're under is the TML policies expire December 31st. We approached TML asking if they would give us an extension, and they turned us down. So we're moving with this. So this resolution has been drafted on a not to exceed basis with a fairly significant increase from where we renewed last year, and that was the 30% number, Chairman, that you were referring to. We took the number from TML and we basically bumped it up by 30% to give us some indication, or to give us some leeway, because where we are in this process is we've been working with them on the underwriting, but as of today, we don't have any firm quotes yet that we can roll up and say this is where we think we're going to come in. So we're recommending that the board approve this resolution on a not to exceed basis, and I hate to say we're hoping for the best. We're hoping that we'll be able to report to you in January that we were able to renew the coverage lower than the indicated number. If for whatever reason we're not, then we would come back to the board and seek a ratification of the renewal at a higher price if the premiums that come in force us into that situation.
Mike, remind me, was it HAIG that came in below budget this summer?
Well, this was the first, when we did the renewal in the middle of the year, it was the first time in several years that the premiums had actually come down from what they had. Right. They had sort of reversed that trend, which had been double-digit increases on an annual basis, and the premium numbers actually came down. Now this, it was kind of touched on before. This was kind of a non-event from a windstorm or hurricane or other really significant event standard on the Gulf Coast. So there's every reason to be optimistic that that trend will continue. But until we actually get these quotes, we're speculating at this point in time.
Do we expect to get those quotes within the next week, I guess? I mean, time's running out.
Yes,
Yeah.
Yes, we do. And we're mindful of the fact that, the holidays are in there as well. So, yes, we are doing everything we can to respond to any questions that come in from HAIG on these policies.
So you're pretty confident we'll have the coverage for the new year?
We have to have that coverage.
I'm confident that we'll have the coverage,
Yeah,
yes.
okay.
I'm not confident that we'll have it for the price we want, but I'm confident that we'll have the coverage. I mean, that's just, the price is just, it's an educated guess as to what the renewal would be. TML was significantly lower on a per door basis than HAIG was. So we factored that in when looking at what level do we need to make this not to exceed number at.
Thank you. Luke, I think that, shared with Jamie, I think that January 26th, we need to consider bringing in some risk consultants to help us with insurance issues so that, we can,
We're doing that.
Okay. And
We've
who
already,
have we hired?
We haven't hired, but Joel has started talking to folks with our asset management team.
Okay.
So it's preliminary.
Okay. I think that really needs some deep dive, because this insurance issue is only getting worse. You know, and it will only continue to get worse. And there are fewer insurance companies who will write policies. And the fewer there are, the more expensive they are, and their clients are. I mean, and the numbers can, and we don't have a choice. They have us literally, we have to have insurance.
No, no, absolutely. So,
Okay, sorry, didn't mean to get off course.
No,
HAIG, by the way, is a mutual company. It's actually owned by Housing Authority. It's Housing Authority members. So, you know, it is a
Are we
better.
a member of that?
we are.
We should be generating a lot of income from it.
Well,
Participating.
before my time, or short, there was, I think, one time, maybe 10, 11 years ago, where there was a little bit of income that came back to us.
Good.
But it hasn't happened in recent history.
Okay, may I have a motion to approve resolution number 3933 as submitted?
I make a motion.
Thank you. And a second? Second. Thank you. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you. The next resolution is number, thank you, Mike. Resolution number 3934.
Mr. Francis?
Good afternoon, Commissioners and Board. So I have before you all the Jobs Plus resolution. This resolution is asking for $2 million to expand the Job Plus program. We're looking to expand this program to Kennedy, Fulton, and Lincoln Park Apartments. Previously, we held this grant at CUNY Homes, which we were one of the first in the nation to hold this grant. We also have held this grant at Oxford currently, where we have a 1-year extension. At that particular property, we've done a phenomenal job there of taking the employment rate from 9% to 49% now. So we've been doing a lot of work to try and help.
Let's slow down and let's repeat that. Let's repeat that again and a little louder.
Yes, sir. So we've been doing a phenomenal job of trying to move our clients to self-sufficiency. So we went from a 9% employment rate to now 49%. This is at Oxford, correct. So we have about 1 year left, and I can tell you that the career coaches there have done a phenomenal job of doing that one-on-one case management and helping clients figure out what their plans are and how to move forward in their journey to self-sufficiency. So that's the gist of what Jobs Plus really is. We have 3 major tenets that we've been trying to help clients with. One of those would be transportation, which we've now just kicked off a shuttle service, and we're working on the last leg of the zip car agreement. We also have a market that's on site where the Houston Food Bank has given us a $2.1 million grant, where clients can actually come in and get 60 pounds of food and household goods and personal items free of charge. They do that every 2 weeks. We just had our self-launch there, which went very well, and we invite the board to come out and take a tour of that facility. And where we also have our boutique, which had national attention. It was actually featured in the Hood Strong Families publication. So one of the things the last thing that we'll be doing is working on JPEID. The chairman here. JPEID is Jobs Plus Earned Income Disregard. And basically what that does is that locks in the client's earned income amount, and it allows families to go out, get a wage, earn additional income, but lock that rent into a rate to where they can afford. So for instance, we had a family where a young lady gained a job through one of our career fairs on site. Her rent would have been $1,100 a month with that new job that she gained. Her rent is only $100 a month, and with that, she was able to save a substantial amount of money, which she actually went out and purchased a home. And that is the ultimate goal of this program, is to help clients cultivate a plan and then we help figure out how to mitigate these barriers and get families to self-sufficiency. So I definitely appreciate the leadership of our executive leadership team. They've come in and really have removed some barriers for our program. And then we have Ms. Where is she? There you go. We want to thank our former director. She's done a phenomenal job of cultivating the first program and then actually coming in with this second and third and hopefully third program to get us to where we need to be. So definitely want to thank Ms. Gilbert Jackson for all her help.
Stand, please.
Nehemiah, this
Yes,
is
sir.
an amazing program. It's one of the best things I've gotten to see, and every time I come out there and visit the site, talk with folks, I just hear more and more great stories like the one you just mentioned, going from being in our public housing to getting a job to being helped out through to self-sufficiency to now owning their own home. I mean, it's just an incredible story. The other thing for our commissioners and for the public to understand, when Nehemiah says we've gone from 9% to 49%, that is factually accurate, but it's almost a little too conservative because we have quite a few people who are in the program who have not taken a job because they're extending their education. They've decided to go further to get an associate's or a bachelor's degree that will allow them to get an even better job or a higher job. So that has prolonged their employment, but they are still on track, and we will, I would, tell me if I'm wrong, sometime this year, at the end of this year in that program, we'll start to see those numbers bump up as those folks finish out their educational
That is correct.
credits. Right?
That's correct.
Yeah.
So clients can choose what they would like to do, whether that's going into some type of job training program, furthering their education, or just going out and gaining a job and going from there. So we have about 95 clients that are currently employed, and then we have another 42 that are doing the education and training route. So we've done things from CNA certifications to with our partnership with U of H doing community health worker certifications.
So our expectation would be that it would be this 9% going to 75% at the end of the program once they finish their education and go to work.
One of the things we're missing too that I have known happen, those individuals that are now working has a tremendous trickle down effect.
Absolutely.
Because their children will see work as the alternative rather than I use the term welfare or assistance.
That's correct.
So hope you work on a doctorate later on and trace those individuals and see what impact the offspring get from those folks going to work. And I think you'll be completely shocked.
Yes, sir.
Also, one point of clarification: this is a four-year grant, correct?
That's correct. This
Right,
is a 4-year grant.
So it's about $8 million to implement the program, and we as the Housing Authority need to come in with 25% of that. So this $2 million commitment will be spread out over 4 years.
Yes, sir.
$500,000 a year.
Thank you, and you are a blessing. Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
May I have a motion to approve resolution number 3934?
So moved.
Thank you. And do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Congratulations.
Thank you, Nehemiah.
Thank
Appreciate
you.
it.
Thank you.
Keep up the great work.
Thank you.
Next, Mr. Spivey.
As I told everybody yesterday, something even more exciting. Switches and firewalls.
Why don't we just ask for an approval of resolution number 3935 as submitted? May I have a motion? So moved. Thank you. Do I have a second? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you, Mr. Spivey.
Thank you all.
Next is resolution number 3936, Mr. Coles.
You're not gonna do mine.
Kenny, would you do me a favor, since you're up here talking about whys in the Yardy work? Will you just add 30 seconds to your presentation to let the board know how this works. We'll also layer into what our auditors mentioned as far as your team being able to do their job better.
Sure.
Okay, thank you.
And make sure your mic is working. Thanks.
We can have that.
Yeah.
This is important.
Or maybe I should ask Nehemiah to come up and
He's back to work.
Good afternoon, Commissioners. First, I want to acknowledge that I heard about a couple of birthdays.
All right,
So-
let's move on. Let's
So
move on.
to
This is
Commissioner
real
Ballard
short.
and Chairman Proler, happiest of birthdays. And may I add that, in my opinion, that I hope you take this as advice, that you should do something good for you and you only. And as my dad would say, it's okay while you're doing that to have too much fun, but don't have too much fun because that usually leads off to 10 o'clock news. Anyway, back to my message, which is Resolution 3936. Consideration and or take action to authorize the President and CEO to approve additional funding and extend the engagement of WISE Consulting as to the 25-15 Yardi Independent Consulting Services contract between the Houston Housing Authority and WISE. Based on staff's recommendations and your review and discussions, we ask that you approve this resolution. To summarize, let's just say that the system of record is a tool every PHA uses as their operational foundation to track, monitor, manage day-to-day and report activities in the effort to be compliant and meet program requirements at HUD's best practice high performer level. All HHA divisions and departments utilize the system of record in varying degrees. And for divisions like voucher program operations, public housing operations, and finance, that usage is almost for 100% of workflows. In 2022, HHA made the decision to move to the Yardi Computer Systems platform as our system of record. That conversion from the previous system of record happened in November of 2024. Every system conversion requires a period after installation and conversion for adjustments, and HHA contracted for these services. The original contract was valued at $75,000 and was designed with initial objectives centered on voucher program operations, which is HHA's largest division. And those are being successfully met, including things like providing system optimization and configuration, reporting and data management, staff training and user support, enhancements and custom development, and compliance and security for voucher program operations and related operations and their support department touch points and handoffs. However, language in the agreement indicates to the extent this work rolls over to other departments, some of the costs may be allocated to those other departments since unforeseen complexities within the scope of work and new strategic opportunities may arise that necessitate an adjustment to the current budget. Those unforeseen complexities and strategic opportunities have arisen and require an extension of the contract's initially anticipated engagement period, and the additional funding will cover the necessary consultant hours to complete the revised objectives effectively.
Thank you. What is the approximate additional funding amount?
It's a not to exceed $100,000. And to Jamie's request.
Which would take the contract to 175.
Got
And when did we initiate that initial contract?
It was in August of this year.
And so with these consultants, will that enable us to complete what we need to with Yardi so that we have balances that for future audits? Does the scope include that?
Yes.
It does.
Yes. So basically, we're talking about system settings, chart of account stuff, VMS, CMAP. I know I'm using all of these terms,
No,
but
that's all right. I think we got the
the
point.
bottom, okay, let me
Yep.
shut up and,
May I have a motion to approve resolution number 3936? Thank you. In a second?
I second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you. Thank you, Kenny.
Thank you, Kenny.
The board will, an executive session will now be held at 3:05 PM on Tuesday, December 16th, 2025, pursuant to the Texas Open Meetings Act to discuss personnel matters in accordance with section 551.074 of the Texas Government Code, legal issues in accordance with section 551.071 of the Texas Government Code, and real estate matters in accordance with section 551.072 of the Texas Government Code. We are adjourned here at 3:06 PM. reconvene here in 1 minute. If everybody can take their seats and get ready, please. Good afternoon again. I have 3:53. The executive session is ended and the public meeting is being reconvened at 3:53 p.m. on Tuesday, December 16th, 2025. Anna, would you please do the order of calling roll?
President Chairman Proler,
Here.
Vice President Commissioner Smith,
Present.
Commissioner Aceves Lewis,
Present.
Commissioner Ballard, Commissioner Carter,
Here.
Commissioner Kirkendall,
Present.
Commissioner Lee,
Present.
Secretary Bryant.
Present.
Okay, we are going to run through these final real estate resolutions quickly, and I'd like to ask for a motion to approve certain resolutions in seriatim. May I have a motion? Thank you. And a second. Good. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Thank you. And I now will ask for a motion to approve resolution number 3937, 3939, and 3941 in seriatim. May I have a motion? Yeah, they need to be done in separate, but those two need to be done in separate motions.
So 40,
3937, 3939, and 3941 is what I'm asking for approval on.
So moved.
Thank you. And a second?
I second.
All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you. Now I will ask for a resolution to approve resolution number 3938 for the consideration and/or to take action to authorize the President, CEO, or authorized representative of the Housing Authority to approve HHA Fountain View PFC's issuance, sale, and delivery of its multifamily housing renewal notes, Idlewild Apartments, Series 2026, and 2, a superseding multifamily housing government note, Idlewild Apartments, and the execution of all required documents therefore. May I have a motion? Thank you. And a second?
Second.
All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you. Now I will entertain a resolution for number 3940, which is for consideration and/or to take action to authorize the President, CEO, or authorized representative of the Houston Housing Authority to approve HHA Fountain View PFC's issuance, sale, and delivery of its multifamily housing governmental note, Lafayette Apartments Series 2026, and the execution of all required documents therefore. Motion, please.
So moved.
Thank you. And a second? All in favor say aye. And now I will move for a motion of adjournment. Thank you. And a second?
Second.
All in favor say aye. Thank you. We will now move to Lakeside Place PFC.
Chairman, what time?
I'm sorry, at 3:55. Thank you, ma'am. Now we will call the roll for Lakeside PFC. I have 3:56. Anna, would you be kind enough to call the roll?
President Chairman Proler,
Here.
Vice President Director Smith,
Present.
Director Aceves Lewis,
Present.
Director Ballard,
Here.
Director Carter,
Here.
Director Kirkendall,
Present.
Director Lee,
Present.
Secretary Bryant.
Present.
Great, thank you. Now I'll ask for a motion to approve the Lakeside Place minutes for March 18th, 2025, and June 17th, 2025, as submitted.
So moved.
Thank you. And a second?
Second.
All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you. Now we'll move into new business, and I'll ask for an approval, a motion to approve resolution number LPPFC-25-04, that the Board of Directors of the Lakeside Place PFC authorizes the PFC to execute any and all documents or take any other action that's necessary or desirable to facilitate the refinance of co-op at Farmers Market on certain real property located in Houston, Texas. Have a motion?
So moved.
Thank you. And the second?
I second.
All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Thank you. Now I'll entertain a motion for adjournment.
So moved.
Thank you. And a second?
Second.
Thank you. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
We are adjourned at 3:57 PM. The next meeting is HHA Fountain View Public Facility Corporation. I have 3:57 PM. Anna, would you please call roll?
President Proler,
Here.
Vice President Director Smith,
Present.
Director Alcettis Lewis,
Present.
Director Ballard,
Here.
Director Carter, Director Kirkendall,
Present.
Director Lee,
President?
Secretary Bryant.
Present.
Thank you. I will now ask for a motion to approve the October 16th, 2025 meeting minutes. May I have a motion, please?
I make motion.
Thank you. And a second?
Second.
All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
Abstain.
I'm sorry?
I wasn't present.
Got it. Please let the record reflect an
Yes,
abstention.
sir.
Under new business, we have 2 resolutions, and I'd like to approve them in seriatim. Do I need a motion to approve in seriatim for this? Yes. May I have a motion to approve in seriatim?
These should be done individually.
Okay, sorry, we tried. Thank you. I'll now entertain a motion to approve resolution number HHA FVPFC 25-10 as submitted. May I have a motion?
So moved.
Thank you. And a second?
Second.
All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Now I'll entertain a motion for resolution number HHA FVPFC 25-11 as submitted. May I have a motion, please?
So moved.
Thank you. And a second.
I second.
All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Now I'll entertain a motion for adjournment of HHA Fountain View Public Facility Corporation. May I have a motion? I've got a motion from Commissioner Lee and a second.
Second.
Thank you. We are adjourned at 3:59 PM. Get a little tired. All right, we've got a couple more. The next one is Victory Redevelopment Corporation. Anna, I'd like to call to order. Will you be kind enough to call roll?
3:59.
Yes, ma'am.
All right. President Director Polar,
Here.
Vice President Director Smith,
Present.
Director Lee,
Yeah,
Secretary Bryant.
Present.
And a motion to approve the minutes of November 18th, 2025. May I have a motion, please?
Make motion.
Thank you. And a second? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you. Under new business, we have 3 resolutions. I'll take them individually. Oh, I can do it in seriatim. So I'll now entertain a motion to adopt these 3 resolutions in seriatim. May I have a motion?
So moved.
Thank you. And a second?
Second.
Thank you. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Thank you. Now, with that, I will now entertain a motion to approve resolution VRC 2528, 2529, and 2530 in seriatim.
So moved.
Thank you. And a second? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
And a motion for adjournment, please, at 4:01 PM. May I have a motion? Thank you. And a second?
Second.
All in favor say aye.
Aye.
And we are adjourned. Mr. Lee, the world is yours.
Call to order then, it's 3:01, 4:01. Call the order, please.
President Director Lee,
President?
Vice President Director Alcettis Lewis,
President.
Director Smith, Secretary Bryant.
Present.
All right. Okay, so approve the November 18, 2025 APD Board of Director meeting minutes. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Any second? Second. Approve, I say aye. Aye. Okay, Mr. Chairman, thank you. Item number 4, the new items. A, resolution number APD 25-21, authorizing APD Redevelopment Corporation's facilitation of the refinance of COP at Farmers Market located at 1690 North Route, Houston, Texas, 77009. Do I have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Any second?
Second.
Thank you. Everybody say aye. Aye. No opposed, motion carried, thank you. Next item is resolution number APD 2522, authorizing APD Redevelopment Corporation to loan $300,000
to the Independent Heights Apartments, GP LLC, the general partner of Independent Heights Apartment LP, to be used as operating capital for the Independent Heights Apartments. Do I have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Okay, any second?
Second.
Second, okay, thank you. Go ahead, say aye. Okay, motion carried, thank you. Okay, great, thank you. Do I have a motion to adjourn the meeting? Second, thank you. Okay, we can adjourn the meeting at 4:02. Thank you. Good.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you. Happy holiday.
Happy holidays.